Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video we are talking about Eden Lake. Now this video was actually requested by one of my patrons, Kylo. Thank you so much for this request. If you would like information on how to become a Patreon, links are in the description below. Anyone who joins $5 or up gets a video request, and if you do $10 or more, you get a monthly request. So if you would like to request your own video, you can do that in that link down below. So anyway, thank you so much for requesting this video, because I have actually never seen this film, but I have heard about it. I have mostly heard good things. It is a 2008 British slasher that is about a couple that, while on vacation at this place, Eden Lake, are tormented by this group of teenagers. Now, this is not a new concept for films and horror. This kind of idea has been done quite a bit before. Really nothing new in the sense of the idea of this film, but I did feel like they do it a bit differently than a lot of kind of survivalist slasher style films, where the couple aren't just on this lake and, you know, are immediately attacked by this group of teenagers. It's kind of a slow progression throughout the film, which usually I'm not a big fan of, like, slow build horror films, but I didn't really mind it with this one. So the couple, we're kind of following them at the start of their vacation, even really before they go on vacation. And the first night that they actually spend at a local hotel in this small town. So they meet some of the locals, and then they go to this lake where they run into this group of kids who at first it's just kind of like their dog being very aggressive, and they're playing loud music. I didn't really like the aspect of using a Rottweiler for the sense of this aggressive dog, just because they're a breed that already gets a lot of hate, and as someone who works with animals and knows that generally most Rottweilers are more scared of us than we are of them, I always hate when I see them or Pitties or Dobermans or really any of those like quote-unquote aggressive breeds that really aren't being used for the sense, so that kind of bummed me out. But that's just like a personal pick with the film, because I just hate that in general. But the dog's being annoying, their music is loud, they're just being teenagers really kind of at this point, just picking on this couple, and the girlfriend is really kind of just trying to mind her business. It's really the boyfriend, who is played by Michael Fassbender, which is also something we'll kind of get to, but of course he just can't let it go, and he kind of addresses the group and asks them to settle down, you know, we can all share the beach, and of course this just upsets them because they're fucking teenagers. But eventually they kind of leave them alone and go away, and then the couple ends up staying the night there. Nothing goes wrong at first. You kind of expect it to. You kind of right away expect things to happen, and nothing does, which was definitely a turn and a difference with this film. And then they even end up going back into town and going to this restaurant, and that's when they kind of, while in town, run into the group of kids again, who again are just kind of trying to fuck with them, and again the boyfriend just can't let that shit go, and I feel like his inability to kind of just move on and let it go really sparks like this whole situation. So they end up back on the beach, and they're pretty much left alone, but then while they're trying to enjoy their beach time, they end up realizing one of their bags is missing, which has their car keys in it, and their car has been taken by this group of kids, and things just kind of continue to escalate from there. There ends up being some torture scenes. There's definitely a lot of torture in this film, especially towards Steve, which is Michael Fassbender's character. He really gets like the gist of it, and spoiler warning, I guess I should spoiler warning for the entire film, but he does end up succumbing to his wounds and passing away, and Jenny, the girlfriend, is left to fight and fend for herself, which for the most part she's really able to do, and she is played by Kelly Riley. I didn't personally really recognize her from much. I kind of looked up, and it does look like she was in both the Sherlock Holmes movies, the Robert Downey Jr. ones, as well as in the new TV show Yellowstone, which I haven't watched, but I know some people that do. So she's definitely been in some stuff, but I just personally didn't really recognize her, but I thought she did fantastic in this, and her character was very badass, and it's very interesting, her character, because there's moments where she kind of struggles because she is a teacher, and that's shown in the very beginning, and it's shown that she's very good with these kids and very much cares about them, and that side of her is shown throughout this film, but that side of her is very much tested throughout this film with these children. There are times where normally she probably would have tried to step in, and she ends up not, because of everything that she's been through, and because of everything that she is going through, and her boyfriend being killed and her being tortured and all of these things, she ends up allowing some of the children to die, and you can tell that that's something that she's very like hurt by and torn with, and I felt they did a good job of showing that kind of struggle for her and that dynamic between who she normally would be outside of the situation and who she's kind of become because of the situation. The film ending, which, again, spoiler warning if you have not seen this film, because I'm going to talk about how it ends. Very, very interesting. Not how I expected this film to end. So we have Jenny is gotten away. She feels like she's gotten away. She ends up running into the brother of one of the children, and takes his car, and gets into town, where she ends up at the house, ends up at this house with a big old group of adults who are initially helping her until they get a call from one of their children who ends up being they all end up being the parents of these children involved in this, and they find out that one of their children, and they find out that one of their sons has died at the hands of Jenny, and the parents end up just completely turning on her, and one of their sons, Brett, who's really the leader of this whole situation, just a horrific evil child, ends up coming back, and we show the parents taking her away, and basically killing her for all we know, and it shoots to Brett, like, in his room wearing Steve's glasses, and, like, just admiring himself in the mirror, and it's such, like, a heartbreaking ending for Jenny. Like, you're like, she finally gets away, and I expected it to kind of cut off as, like, we see her driving away, and I really expected it to kind of end there, and initially when it doesn't, and it just kind of, like, continues on with her stumbling into this house, I was like, really? Like, there's more to this? But with the way it ended, I actually, as intense as it is, and again, sad and really fucked up, and this Brett kid is so fucked up, like, he has no sympathy, like, does not care at all about any of what just happened. It's so horrific. I actually thought it was a very interesting ending, and I actually kind of liked the fact that it ended that way, just because I feel like it is very different, and again, it makes this film stand out. This one is definitely a film that I feel like stands out against other films in this way because of those differences that I've mentioned. So I can definitely understand why this film is, I don't know if popular is the right word, but I guess so. Why this film seems to be popular amongst horror fans or talked highly about, because it is very different, because it is very intense and different in ways that I think are really good. Now, I feel like can't talk about this film without talking and bringing up Michael Fassbender, just personally, because that was a problem I had within this film, because for those who don't know, he has been accused of domestic violence by an ex-girlfriend. I know that he is currently married to a fellow actress, and from all points of view, they seem to have a happy life and happy marriage, which is great, but I know that his ex-girlfriend came out back in, I think, like 2010, so after this film was already made, and she has stated that he was abusive to her. He drank a lot, and that led to a lot of these situations, and I know, obviously, with kind of everything going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, there may be people that are a little reluctant, but we have to remember that false accusations are very rare. And obviously the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case is very, everybody's making memes and making their jokes about it, but it's a very, I feel like, entangled and complicated situation. Not to take away from this review, but I just felt like I couldn't talk about this film without talking about his accusations against him. And there were other actresses that have come forward talking about being uncomfortable around him, and there are actresses that have said that they refuse to work with him. So it was kind of hard to focus on him and his character and feel kind of bad for him in this film. While watching it, I definitely felt bad for the Jenny character, obviously, but I just felt like I needed to kind of bring that up if we're going to be talking about this film. So, but back to actually the film. All in all, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty good film. Not necessarily like a new favorite by any means, but I still did enjoy it, and I can definitely see why. And like I said, I can definitely see why this film is well loved. So again, thank you, Kylo, for this request. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this film down in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big old thumbs up and make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more horror-related content. And before I go, a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. Again, links to that and all of my social media are down in the description, and I will see you all again later with another video. Bye!